New Black Wall Street Book Club. Evan Jefferson, brother, much love. Educating, elevating, because in knowledge is the power and we'll never give it up. Literature that's for the masses. Where to put your money down, now how to watch your assets. Yeah, uplifting others is a passion. My brother Evan, he will turn it into action. New Black Wall Street Book Club. You should come read with us. Yeah, we comprehend and discuss. If we all just come together, there's no limit for us. Here comes your host, New Black Wall Street. Evan, take it away. New Black Wall Street. New Black Wall Street Book Club.
All right, good evening to you beautiful people. Thanks so much for joining us here tonight on the New Black Wall Street Book Club After Dark series, where we get into this thing super dope, man. I'm your host, ERGJ, your certified global financial educator, CEO of ERGJ Enterprises, The Black Bazaar, an international best-selling author of the book, The Black Billionaires Club. The book that I wrote, guys, is a study of Black wealth. It's a study of the 12 richest Black people in the world today and how they built their wealth. And I just truly believe that if you want to be wealthy, that's a big if. But if you do, I recommend that you study wealthy people. You can begin that study with a book. Take a look. It's in a book. And that book is The Black Billionaires Club. You can check us out at theblackbillionairesclub.com, theblackbillionairesclub.com. When you hit the site, you'll see a store that you can find other financial literacy books for your children to teach them early. What we learned late, we got to get beyond the excuse of what they didn't teach us when we actually have resources to teach ourselves. Same way the slaves taught themselves how to read and write, we can teach ourselves about money if we decided it's important to us. But then also there's a tab that says join the club. You can choose to invest in yourself and join our exclusive club. Where you have brothers and sisters who are serious about building wealth, serious about building business, super serious about building themselves, which is what we're going to do here tonight. So check us out at theblackbillionairesclub.com, theblackbillionairesclub.com. It's roll call time, beautiful people. Want to find out who has joined us here tonight for 30 minutes a night to keep your everlasting mind right, as we're going to be going through the book, continue our journey into the book, The University of Success. Go ahead and let us know where you're connecting from. What city, what state, what country, what city, what state, what country you are joining with us here tonight. We are broadcasting across the World Wide Web from our virtual studios, which is in Decatur, Georgia. And just love to know how far our reach is here tonight, as you might be connected with us from anywhere. We got brothers and sisters all over the world who tune in to get some of this goodness, as we're again going to be journeying through this book called The University of Success. What's going on with you? Latia Taylor is in the house. Thanks so much for joining us here tonight on the New Black Wall Street Book Club After Dark series. Miss Nita Diane is in the hizzy out of Albany, Georgia. Miss Yvette Goodrich, thanks so much for joining us here tonight on the New Black Wall Street Book Club. Brother Wilhelm Watt has joined us as well. Detroit, Michigan is representing here tonight as well. Thanks so much over at Instagram as well for all the people. Long Island, New York is in the mix for joining us here tonight. Now, here's the deal, guys. Again, we've been this has been getting super serious around here as we've been kind of going through this book. And I want to set you up properly. Yesterday's edition, we kind of finished up talking about the will to fail. And how some of us have this stuff in us, which leads us to failure. And we don't even know. It's like subconscious stuff we could talk about, program and all that stuff that's happened as we have lived here on this earth. But today we're going to start to talk about how to overcome failure. How to overcome. Everybody put in console, I'm an overcomer. How to overcome failure is what we're going to be talking about here today, as we recognize 10 areas that tend to be common when it comes to this thing called failure. So how to overcome failure. Now, you want to make sure hopefully you got some type of way for you to take notes. If you don't, use the chat box to do that. Just use your finger. You get finger memory. Because what happens, guys, when we start reading at night, it's a little bit different than reading it in the morning. In the morning, we get inspired, we get moved, we get some energy. At night, we get a lot of thoughts. At night, how many guys have actually, it's been like some stuff going on, if you've been tuning in with us, stuff going on in your membrane. And you're like, what is this? And like, it feel like your mind is alive again. That's what happens when we read at night. And so this is a book that's gearing us up to take us through this journey, or take us through these semesters, the type of book we should have had to read versus To Kill a Mockingbird or something silly like that. But anyway, Mandino's University of Success, the greatest self-help author in the world, presents the ultimate success book. The ultimate success book. Everybody put in console #success. The ultimate success book here tonight. Go and put in console #success. Now, we're going to start, again, we're going to continue this thing and then we'll get our sponsors later, but we're talking about how to overcome failure. And now it says it this way, how to conquer the 10 most common causes of failure. That was too long. So I just had to put how to overcome failure, okay? I just had to put that. We're going to start with our quote. We're going to start with our quote. It says this: very often we are our own worst enemy as we foolishly build stumbling blocks on the path that leads to success and happiness. Very often we are our own worst enemy as we foolishly build stumbling blocks on the path that leads to success and happiness. Now, this section is going to come from an author named Louis Benstock in lesson number 5. And this is probably going to be a 3-part series of how to overcome failure. So this is part 1 because it's quite long. Okay. How to conquer the 10 most common causes of failure. How to conquer the 10 most common causes of failure. New Black Wall Street Book Club. After dark. Let's get it. To help you to know thyself a little better has been the prime purpose of this first semester. It's always a difficult indoctrination because most of us, unfortunately, are unable to capitalize on our abilities. We overestimate them. We underestimate them. We become complacent. We allow them to decay. Occasionally, we are unaware that they exist. There are those who may dream of some exotic career like acting or singing, painting, writing, and who feel that only persistence is necessary, who are never able to reconcile themselves to a lack of genius or even talent, who will never admit that true success for them may lie in other fields. John Keats, the English poet, once wrote, "Failure is, in a sense, the highway to success, inasmuch as every discovery of what is false leads us to seek earnestly after what is true, and every fresh experience points out some form of error which we shall afterward carefully avoid." Regrettably, Keats was not describing how most of us deal with adversity. We do not all learn from our failures, nor are we quick to perceive the errors we commit so that they are not repeated. To do these things effectively, we need direction. Everybody put in console direction. We need direction. Let me repeat this again. John Keats said that failure is, in a sense, the highway to success, inasmuch as every discovery of what is false leads us to seek earnestly after what is true, and every fresh experience points out some form of error which we shall afterward carefully avoid. But regrettably, that's simply not true. How most of us deal with adversity. We do not all learn from our failures. Everybody don't learn from their mistakes. Nor are we quick to perceive the errors we commit so that they are not repeated. To do these things effectively, we need direction. From this widely acclaimed book, The Road to Successful Living, Louis Benstock, the late and beloved rabbi of famed Temple Shalom in Chicago, introduces you to the major stumbling blocks you may have unknowingly erected in your life, errors you may be making again and again that are hurting you every day. And you've taken this inventory of yourself, you'll be better prepared to advance into semester number 2. So let's talk about some of these stumbling blocks we may have been putting in our own path. What would it be like if after so many years you realize you were the problem? Oh, I'm telling you, man, that's one of them things you wake up and you be like, I don't know if I want to eat this meal. When all the time that you might have been putting it on somebody else, you might have been putting it on him. You might have played the blame game your whole life. And then one day you wake up, you're like, you know what? I got something to do with the problems or the issues, or I got something to do with where I find myself in life. The causes of failure lie within a wide and confusing area, the culture we live in, our definition of the two words success and failure, our personal psychological makeup, but often failure and the approach of failure take more common and obvious forms. We're not all scholars. We're not all godly. We're not all psychoanalysts. We must deal with the world as it presents itself to us. There are, in terms of our everyday reactions, 10 common causes of failure. These 10 are basic. Know them, conquer them. Everybody put that in comments below. Know them, conquer them. Know them, conquer them. Even a few of them, and you will have removed the most stubborn obstacles from the path of true success. No one else can handle them for you. You must clear your own path. Everybody put that console. I must clear my own path. What does that mean? You got to do the work. Hopefully they'll be uncovered to you, but you still got to do the work. Now, here's the interesting thing is I'm thinking about a few people who I've had relationships for a while. And it seems that they are making steps and strides mentally like that. Yes, I know what I need to do. Yes, I'm going to do it. But in this 3 months and 6 months and a year later, and it still ain't got done. They come back to you. Yeah, I know I need to do. Yeah, I'm going to do it. And then it's another 3 months and 6 months and it's a year and it still ain't got done. And you're like, I thought you do recognize what's going on. Yeah, you do know that you need to take care of that. But for some reason, you still haven't taken care of it. You still haven't done the work, the self-work. You must clear your own paths. You must do the work. Others may help, but the job is really yours alone. The first stumbling block. Y'all might want to write these down. The first stumbling block is the age-old trick of blaming others. The first stumbling block is blaming others. This is the victim mentality. This is not the same as worrying about what others think or have or do. It is the actual fastening of responsibility onto another. The difference between witchcraft and medicine, we are informed by a man who has spent 25 years as a doctor in Africa, is that when a man falls sick, witchcraft makes him ask, who did this to me? While medicine makes him ask, what did this to me? Oh, who did this to me? Medicine asks him, what did this to me? It is the primitive or juvenile mind that seeks the cause of fears and failures outside itself. Whew! Pow! Ping! It is the primitive or juvenile mind, wow, that seeks to cause the cause of fears and failures outside of itself. And almost always the primitive mind seeks a who if it suspects a what. It believes it to be inanimate, to be a who inside it. We sometimes credit God or goddess intervening in the affairs of men. Rarely does the primitive mind look inside itself and ask, what in me is responsible for this? The more sophisticated mind, educated and civilized, learns to ask, what is there within me that caused me to think or not that thought, or to feel or not that emotion, or to do or not that deed? Primitive mind versus sophisticated mind. The sophisticated mind, the educated and civilized mind, learns to ask. Everybody put in console, learns to ask this type of question. What is there within me that caused me to think like that or not think like that? What is it in me that caused me to feel that way or not feel that way? What is it in me? Everybody put in that console, what is it in me that caused me to do that or not do that deed? You know how so many of us, we cast blame on others. You know what? You made me feel this way. I made you feel that way. But you didn't say, what is it in me that made me feel this way? Oh my goodness. We're talking about a whole nother level of conversation that you have with yourself before you make that phone call or before you shoot that text. You made me feel versus what is it in me that made me feel this way? What is it in me that made me do this thing or not do this thing? What is it in me? Woo! Oh, Lord. I mean, that could be the whole night. We can just stay on what is it in me for the next 25 minutes. What is it in me that made me think like that? What is it in me that made me feel that way? What is it in me that made me do that deed? What is it in me that made me think or not think that way? What is it in me that made me feel or not feel that emotion? What is it in me? But even now, very few of us are ready to admit immediately. Maybe it's my fault. Most of us respond initially in a primitive or childish way to any situation involving fault or failure. It is almost instinctive for the child to blame a brother or a sister. He made me do it, or even he did it. Are common reactions when punishment is in the offing. A schoolboy may blame his teacher for his own deficiencies in learning or conduct. She's always picking on me. The motorist claims that it was the other guy's fault. A husband shouts at a wife, why do you always pick quarrels? The employee claims the company doesn't appreciate me. Mankind's great bewildered cry has always been, who did this to me? Who did this to me? The practice of blaming others accounts not only for perhaps half our failures, but also for our failure to cash in on failures. We do not recognize failure for what it is, and consequently, we cannot deal with it. Instead, we set up straw men, knock them down several times, and waste days in a battle which we cannot win. The battle we ought to be fighting is within ourselves. That battle, if we bring valor to it, we cannot lose. The practice of blaming others accounts for not only for perhaps half of our failures, but also for our failures to cash in on failures. We do not recognize failure for what it is, and consequently, we cannot deal with it. Instead, we set up straw men, knock them down several times, and waste days in a battle we cannot win. The battle we ought to be fighting is within ourselves. That battle, if we bring valor to it, we cannot lose. The second stumbling block, where we're talking about how to overcome failure, how to conquer the 10 most common causes of failure, is the opposite of the first. The ready tendency to blame oneself in private anyway. So the first one was blaming others. Now it's blaming yourself. Why was I such a fool? What an easy mark I am. Why do I always put my foot in it? Why do I always say the wrong thing? What a dope I was. How many of you guys, I guess I shouldn't ask that question, but man, you know some people that are always talking down to themselves. We do not believe really that we are fools or easy marks. This is a quick, easy way to brush off a failure that probably runs much deeper and requires more consideration than we are willing to admit to ourselves. Instead of wrestling with the problem behind the failure and struggling to resolve it to prevent its recurrence, we blame ourselves as though we were congenital failures and let it go at that. This is pernicious, Lord, this is pernicious thinking and dangerous practice. It plants deep the feelings of inferiority and insecurity, which will later spring up like weeds to dominate the well-ordered garden of the mind. Abraham Lincoln, who failed in many things, but was far from being a failure, once said, "My great concern is not whatever you have failed, but whether you are content with your failure." This contentment is paralyzing. You may see yourself as happy in failure, and you will tend to fail everywhere. When Major General William F. Dean was released by his communist captors, a newsman, it is reported, asked what sustained him during his 3 years of misery. "I never felt sorry for myself," the general replied, and that's what licked it. Self-pity whips more people than anything else, and I would say that self-blame is even worse because it is one of the prime causes of self-pity. Or we may proceed from self-blame to self-deprecation to self-contempt, and thence even to self-destruction. Excessive self-blame opens the doors to guilt feelings. In the habit of blaming yourself for your apparent failures, you may come in time to seek the blame for the failure of others. In my own study, many a wife has cried, "It was my fault," when clearly it was her husband's. Many a mother has wept, "Where did I fail?" when obviously a child's failure had brought destructive tension to the family. And self-blame closes the door to self-improvement. Self-blame closes the door to self-improvement. Self-development. Behind the closed doors of personality may withdraw, but behind the closed doors, one's personality may withdraw permanently. It may languish in extreme melancholia, like a deer blinded by a bright light. It may stand paralyzed in feeling and will, lacking the nerve and drive that would carry it to safety. It's been often observed that the Great Wall, centuries old, stretching 1,800 miles across plains and deserts, is one of history's monumental structures and a symbol of China's failure to progress as a nation. The wall was a barrier. The Chinese isolated themselves behind it and turned inward. Self-blame can be the Chinese wall of our lives. Stone after stone of self-criticism, stone after stone of self-contempt, stone after stone of self-deprecation, stone after stone, they fall into place. And one day we find ourselves so restricted and inhibited that we are isolated from family, friends, and community. We become companions of death. We become companions of death. How to overcome failure. The 10 most common causes of failure. The first stumbling block was blaming everybody else. The second stumbling block was always blaming yourself. Here's the third stumbling block. The third stumbling block is having no goals. The third stumbling block is having no goals. Dr. William Menninger opines, a fellow must know where he wants to go. If he is going to get anywhere, it is so easy just to drift along. Everybody put in the console, no more drifting. A fellow must know where he wants to go. If he is going to get anywhere, it is so easy just to drift along. Some people go through school as if they thought they were doing their families a favor. On a job, they work along in a humdrum way, interested only in their salary check. They don't have a goal. When anyone crosses them up, they take their marbles and walk out. The people who go places and do things make the most of every situation. They're ready for the next thing that comes along on the road to their goal. They know what they want and are willing to go an extra mile. No more drifting. William Saroyan has provided us with a character, Willie, in the time of your life, who personifies a man without a real goal. Willie has a mania for pinball. Throughout the play, Willie fights the machine. In the last scene, he wins the game, finally. Red and green lights flash. The bell rings 6 times. An American red flag leaps out of the machine. Willie salutes, collects 6 nickels from the bartender, and says, I knew I could do it. Success. No goal is bad enough, but low goals are worse. No goal is bad enough, but low goals are worse. Probably there's no such thing as no goal. Willie had a goal to beat the machine. He succeeded, but at the cost of failure and everything else. His story is like the old one of the dog who bragged that he could outrun anything on 4 legs. He gave chase to a rabbit soon afterward, but fell behind. The other dogs laughed derisively. He shrugged it off. Don't forget the rabbit was running for his life. I was just running for the fun of catching him. We rarely see them in their pure form, but there are those whose only goal in life is fun, who do nothing but amuse themselves, who often at the expense of others and always at the expense of their real selves. They waste their God-given talents on worthless pleasures. They spread the salt of their energies over the meat of change, over the meat of their life, and they find that the salt has lost its savor. Or to change the metaphor, they aim simultaneously at a number of targets, scattering their talent like buckshot and exaggerating the value of whatever they happen to nick. The shooting and shouting are all that their hearts desire. Then there are the few whose goals is an undefined break somewhere in the future. Like McCarver, they wait for something to turn up. Meanwhile, they turn everything down. It's beneath them, beyond them, not what they're suited for, and don't like it. They wait for the fairy prince, the dream boat, and their instincts are for life atrophy. Their minds dull and their bodies grow flabby. And when the prince comes, when the boat docks, they're not ready. In the end, all is vanity. According to Richard L. Evans of the Detroit Times, it isn't always clear, perhaps it's seldom clear, just what we are waiting for. But some of us persist in waiting so chronically that youth slips by. Opportunities slip by, and life slips by. Here's my question to you. What are you waiting for? There's some of you that are watching right now. Some might catch the replay. And this one question could be the turning point of your life. What are you waiting for? As you think about the things that are within you, as you may have let those things slip by or pass by, an opportunity to go by and go by, but by and by. The question is still, what are you waiting for? I venture to say you've been waiting your whole life. 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, 60 years. You've been waiting your whole life. But when you start to think about it, what am I waiting on? What am I waiting for? What are you waiting for? Just what we are waiting for. But some of us persist in waiting so chronically that youth slips by, opportunities slip by, and life slips by. Finding us still waiting for something that has been going on all the time. But when in the world are we going to begin to live as though we understood the urgency of life? This is our time. This is our day. This is our generation. Not some golden age of the past, not some utopia of the future. This is it. Whether we're thrilled or disappointed, busy or bored, this is life and it's passing. What are we waiting for? Yesterday's gone, tomorrow's not promised. What are you waiting for? Youth done slipped you by. What are you waiting for? Opportunity has slipped you by. What are you waiting for? And please don't let life slip by. What are you waiting for? I'll try to get one more in. Maybe we can get one more in. So the first stumbling block, blaming everybody else. The second stumbling block, always blaming yourself. The third stumbling block, having no goals. Now, for those that follow us, the Black Billionaires Club, and those is the ERGJ support, now you see why in March we had a goal, we had a challenge. In April, we're going to have another challenge. So you can learn, you get consistent, you can begin to appreciate setting a goal for yourself. Now we call it a challenge, but it's just setting you up for success. It's something you set for yourself. And for many of us, we ain't been setting goals in a long time. I mean, it's been a little while since we really set a goal other than to take a vacation. And that didn't happen last year. So what were we doing during COVID-19? Having no goal, drifting. But care is needed. A fourth stumbling block is choosing the wrong goals. Choosing the wrong goals. The Chinese tell of a man of Beijing who dreamed of gold, much gold, his heart's desire. He rose one day, and when the sun was high, he dressed in his finest garments and went to the crowded marketplace. He stepped directly to the booth of a gold dealer, snatched a bag full of gold coins, and walked calmly away. The officials who arrested him were puzzled. Why did you rob the gold dealer in broad daylight, they asked, and in the presence of so many people? I did not see any people, the man replied. I only saw gold. When gold or glory, power or place become a fixed idea, we're usually blinded not only to the needs of others in the home as well as in the marketplace, but also to our own needs, to the needs of our inner selves. I've met and talked with hundreds of men and women who are accounted great successes, but who within the sanctity of my study confessed to a devastating sense of failure. They had set their sights upon one goal and allowed it to represent self-fulfillment, that they had attained the goal and found that it was not what their souls required. It was often one that destroyed their souls. What does it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his own soul? This is a great sadness. To discover after many years of struggle that attaining the object of your efforts will not bring happiness. Often it is a question of professional displacement, the practice of medicine or of the law or of the management, which one promises all success and all happiness, may leave the practitioner weary and disillusioned, empty of hope. And when he has reached his 5th or 6th decade, he knows that it's too late to turn back to find contentment in another life. There are rare souls who have gathered their courage, faced the truth, and turned away from a lifetime of achievement to a calling that brought them peace. But most of us, I'm afraid, would carry dissatisfaction with us. Even Tolstoy was not entirely happy when he had renounced the life of account and gone back to the land. Now, most of us, dissatisfied or not, realize that we must go on to the end of the trail. We have begun badly and compounded the error through the years, but no further choice is possible. Here's a dangerous paradox. Most of our choices, vocational and domestic, are made when we are young, and yet the responsible man cannot easily take advice. He must find out for himself what life is all about. Often he is beyond the possibility of a change when he comes to realize what happiness consists of. It takes great honesty and serious thought to be able to make a firm and confident choice before it's too late. It takes great honesty. No wonder why I'm always saying, be honest with yourself. It takes great honesty and serious thought to be able to make a firm and confident choice before it is too late. Too many of us allow the choice to be made for us by family or circumstance and regret it later. A great preacher, Philip Brooks, once commented, there's a young man droning and drowsing along at what he calls the practice of law. It amounts to nothing. The profession does not want him any more than he wants it. He is there because it is an honorable and respectable employment, because the tradition of his family or a little set of people put him there. Let him once get some moral courage. Let him once briefly ask what he is really here for, what he can really do well and with love. What is his duty? And such questions would carry him perhaps to the carpenter's bench, perhaps to the blacksmith's forge. Shangzu, a disciple of Confucius, was fishing one day in the Fu River. The Prince of Chu sent 2 high officials to ask him if he would take over the administration of the state of Chu. Shangzu ignored them and went on fishing. Pressed for an answer, he said, I've heard that in Chu there is a sacred tortoise, dead now these 3,000 years. The prince keeps this tortoise locked in a chest on the altar of his ancestral temple. I ask you, would this tortoise rather be dead and venerated or alive wagging his tail in the mud? Alive wagging his tail in the mud, the official said quickly. Be gone, said Shangzu. I too will wag my tail in the mud. He said, man, damn, that I won't keep fishing. He was at peace. Oh, man, he got me with that one. Wow, that's why I said that night when we going through this, it's some real thinking. It's some real layers that are being pulled back for those that want to go through this journey. It ain't for everybody. Clearly, it ain't for everybody. Right? Self-analysis and self-development and all that good stuff. It ain't for everybody not gonna go on this journey. But that's okay. You know why? Because those who are willing to do today what others refuse to do will be able to afford to live a life that others can't afford to. Then again, be willing to do what others simply refuse to do today, so that later or tomorrow you can afford to live a life that others can't afford. And they'll think you got lucky. They'll think that you got a silver spoon. They'll think that someone gave you this life. No, you were just willing to do what they were unwilling to do. You were willing to study when they wanted to party. You was willing to read when they wanted to watch TV all night. You just simply are willing to do what they were unwilling to do. Therefore, you are put yourself in position to afford to live the life that they can't afford to live. Stumbling block number 1. We begin to recognize some of these things that we might have set up for ourselves, blaming everybody else. It's someone else's fault. Stumbling block number 2. Always blaming yourself as if you're not good enough. Stumbling block number 3, having no goals. Man or woman that does not know where they're going, anywhere to take them there. And stumbling block number 4, having too many goals or having the wrong goals. Having the wrong goals. In the comments below, I'd love for you to share something that you learned today, your takeaway. Probably a lot. Just give me one. Said, you know what? Reading through the University of Success. I want to be a success. I'm a good student. I take notes. And here's something that stood out for me tonight during our reading here tonight. Here's something that's probably gonna be on my mind when I go to sleep, and I'm not gonna be able to shake it because it's some stuff in me that I got to fix. I got to work on. And how many guys say, you know what? I'm willing, I'm ready, and I'm willing to do the work, the self-work, so I can truly live my best life. So I can truly live my best life. I'm simply asking you to answer this question in the comments below. Was this worth your time, and why? Was this worth your time, and why? Now, we don't do this just to do this, beautiful people. We do this to make a difference. We do this to make an impact. We do this to help all of us, even myself, reading through this, to change. You change the way that you think, you'll change the way that you act. You change the way that you act, you'll begin to change the results that you get in your life. And ultimately, this life that we live is all about results. What are you manifesting in your own life from how you think, how you talk, and how you act? While you guys are typing, I know I talk much faster than you type. We'll shout out our sponsors real quick here for our New Black Wall Street Book Club After Dark, right? 30 minutes a night to keep your everlasting mind right. The Black Bazaar, the Afrocentric marketplace, specializing in Afrocentric home decor, personal care products, also Black art-inspired gifts. Check out this Black-owned business at www.theblackbazaar.com, www.theblackbazaar.com. Blackberry Charisma, specializing in custom crafts, being to help you to keep your branding and marketing top of mind. Also has a pretty dope lineup of lingerie. You can check that Black business out at www.blackberrycharisma.com, www.blackberrycharisma.com. 5-Factor Consulting, a Black woman-owned business, be able to help you to fix your credit, repair your credit, also increase your cash flow, help you get to that yellow brick road or the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Maybe you need some help. Maybe you need somebody to talk to walk you through or to guide you or give you some direction. Check her out at www.5factorconsulting.com, www.5factorconsulting.com. And another, last but not least, Big Sis Media, another Black-owned business that you can choose to do business with. This business is going to be able to help you to bring your stuff current, to make you relevant in 2021, be able to help you with that website, help you with those digital flyers, help you with your trailers, your commercials, your podcasts, whatever it is. We are in a digital age at this point, beautiful people. And so why not upgrade, right, to the age that we're in? And you cannot keep trying to use your rotary phone. Okay? Upgrade, right? Check her out at BigSisMediaGroup.com, BigSisMediaGroup.com. Let's catch up on these comments, man, and we'll get up on out of here so you guys can have the conversation with the hubby or the wife. You know what I'm saying? Start to take some notes, try to figure out, try to do the work on yourself. You know what stuck out for you. You know what you might need to work on. Well, you know what you've identified here tonight. Right? Faithfully, your man, willing to do what others refuse to do today. You can afford to live the life that others simply can't, right? Right? The wrong goal, man. Believe in yourself. So powerful to move on in life, man. I'm ready to do the work to live my best life, man. Latia Taylor said, man, I learned that I need to figure out what is wrong with me, right? Change it and get started, man. You know how long, Tia, whew. It's worth my time because I enjoy the show. Okay, fantastic. These stumbling blocks are spot on from Miss Lumpkins in the house. Teresa Gilliard, man, recognize stumbling blocks for who or what they are in my life for daily change, man. Always worth my time. Reminder to keep setting, tracking goals. And also what am I waiting on some things. All right. All right, man. Another user said, man, these live streams keep me on my square and motivated to keep pushing. I'm experiencing things in my personal progression that nearly nobody in my life understands, but that's okay. I know what I want and what I'm working towards, and I'll definitely get there. Oh, yes, man. All right. Proper goal setting is very important to keep you on track to become the best that you can be. Some of us have no goals or wrong goals. Some block number 2 did it for me, man. Self-reflection. Self-reflection. Now, I've got 6 more to go through, so we'll go through 3 tomorrow and then 3 Monday on Wednesday. And then we'll move on to lesson number 6, coming out of the book, The University of Success, a book written by one of my favorite authors, Mandino. I don't know how this book slipped by me all these years, but there's timing is everything, right? There's a time and a place for everything, and this was the time for us to find this book and to go through this book, because if you put it in a book, we're gonna find it. You put it in a book, we will find it. Well, beautiful people, I want to say thanks so much for tuning in here today. You can catch our episodes moving forward on BBC TV. So check us out on Facebook. Look for BBC TV. We're basically compiling all of our great content contributors into one space, so you can get all of our content. From finance to obviously the book club, to fashion, to fitness, to cooking, and all that stuff. We're gonna put it all in one place so we can become our own media. Right? Stop watching the stuff that they put in front of us so they can depict who we are. No, we know who we are, and we can be our own TV. That's what we're doing at the BBC TV. Well, beautiful people, I want you guys to remember this, that it takes a village. It starts with us. Let's build as we climb together. We all we got, beautiful people. Matter of fact, we all we really need. And thank God, that's more than enough. Until next episode, you know what time it is. Mr. DJ, hit the music.
It's the new Black Wall Street Book Club. With your host, Evan Jefferson. It's time for us to go. Yeah. Now, you ain't got to leave the computer, but we encourage you to get out there and learn and apply all the things you learn at the new Black Wall Street Book Club. Yeah. The new Black Wall Street.